Okay, we're live.
Okay, so I am Gilbert Porterfield, the Vice President for Compensation. So we only have three more people, so it looks like Victoria, you're going to be Ruth.
Sweet.
Sorry. Yay! And you guys pick
I'll do, is it Michael Beer?
Michael Beer, no.
Oh.
Miles Haddock or Sid. Okay, so there's Sid Noble, the head of research and development, Miles Haddock, the CFO, Gus Teller, the corporate head of training, and Bill Purcell, the team leader for polymers.
Maybe since we don't have a ton of people, we can just like talk about it, or does it really have to be role playing?
It really has to be role playing. Let me see what my assignment is before we decide what we're doing.
All right.
Email to Sam Verde from Gilbert Porterfield reporting the pay committee meeting.
Oh, goodness.
Either give a recommendation for the pay plan on the committee that we've agreed on, include specifics about the approach that will work, explain how the different committee members feel about the plan or why they're willing to support this particular compromise, or describe for Sam the main points the committee members were unable to agree on, tell him which points they can agree on, explain what you think will have to happen for the committee to come to an agreement on the compensation plan. So it's either we tell them what we agreed on or tell them what we didn't agree on. So we can discuss it, but we kind of need to bring the viewpoints of all the people, I think. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, you guys are going to have to walk me through how to find this again. I am struggling.
Do you not have a case study?
I'm trying to find the case study still. I
I
was
can
up till
email it to
working.
you.
Just going to email it to me?
Yeah, I can
Okay.
email it to you.
Yeah, just do that.
You have it right, Keith?
Yeah, I've got it. So essentially, from what I understand, just from a summary, this company has implemented a new corporate quality for all program, and they want to structure a pay plan that that accurately complements this new quality for all program. And so we have to take the position of different employees around the company and defend our own position. And then we have to come up with a pay plan, compensation plan that makes the most sense for everyone.
Yeah. A win-win, right?
So and then it looks like they've brought in, so the company brought in a committee of outside sources to provide their own feedback.
I thought it was some good feedback, too.
Yeah.
So just to get everybody's, what all the viewpoints are, I know that Ruth is like a or a mixer. She's a part of a packaging team.
Right. And she's not overly thrilled at all.
I don't think anyone's really thrilled, though. It feels like everybody feels like it should move in a different direction, but they all have different directions they want it to move in.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
It feels like her job doesn't feel as important because they put so much emphasis on the scientists themselves.
and that's what Sid Noble wants, is he wants the scientists to be able to do scientist work, and he doesn't even like the whole team concept.
Yeah.
So okay, I'm trying to understand how this thing works. Pay is divided into two parts. One fixed share of individual salaries based on the internal quality, and I guess I don't. Okay.
So it sounds like it actually sounds something similar to how my pay structure is, where you have your base salary that you get, and
Right.
then you get additional compensation, almost like a bonus plan, depending on your team performance.
As
That's
the entire group, not like
yeah,
Ruth's group. It's the entire company. Right?
see that's where I thought it was per team. It sounds like they're all split up into teams, but I don't know. That's where I'm getting kind of confused.
Okay, so it looks like there's a team. Okay, so overall, what we just need to decide is a compensation thing. If we want to stay, we get to kind of critique what the size of our team is, right? In our own compensation plan, whether we want it to be a small team or a large team.
We could say that we don't agree with the way this is structured. We just got to figure out how exactly it's structured first.
Well, it sounds like it's the all of the teams, because weren't they talking about taking people out for beer and teaching them how to giving advice? I read something that they were talking. That, I was like, and the guy was like that. Well,
Get to bed now.
I know all this is. Okay. So it says Bruce team invites somebody from plastics out after work and discuss some plastics do better. This has that built into it. You won't have people working together unless there's incentive for them to do so. And so one of the guys, that Bill Purcell guy, cuts in and he says, "Please, Gus, let's be real. Do you really think that any one of us has the time, let alone desire, to take people out for beers and tell them how to do their jobs? Oh, sure. Hey, Al, how's your wife? Heard you traveled to Yosemite last month. And, oh, yeah, I wanted to tell you and your team to start thinking about purchasing your materials differently. I don't think so." So it sounds like it's like the team as a whole, right?
Yeah, because somebody says this pay plan will make the conditions worse. It's going to punish teams like mine for failings of others instead of rewarding us for the work that we do or have already done. So it's the entire company, not like, each division is within themselves being rewarded for what they're doing. They're having to rely on somebody else. You mean, all of the teams together.
I already think there's a problem in someone's base pay being 75% of their former pay. That means that they have to meet certain quantifiable criteria in order to get their whole paycheck. Does that?
Yeah, that makes sense. So if for whatever reason the entire team doesn't perform well on a certain month, they could lose 25% of their paycheck. That's pretty significant. I'd be pretty upset.
Yeah, that
sounds like a good recipe for turnover.
That doesn't sound like an incentive program. That sounds like punishment.
That sounds awful. Okay.
Well, then, yeah, I think you're just going to start having teams start blaming others for not filling their end, and I think this whole pay plan it goes against everything I believe in. So.
Well, and it doesn't really incite teamwork, because then it creates hostility between people, because then the packaging people hate the guys that are mixing or whatnot because they feel like they're bringing down the scores. That just creates animosity in the workplace. That doesn't cultivate teamwork.
Okay, so one of the things that I'm kind of guessing is that in order, what we would want to do as a group thus far is to suggest that the incentives be based per team with specific goals per each, team, like the mixers or whatever, and the scientists or whatever.
First point is that we need to break down the team.
They need to be smaller.
Yep.
Yeah, not interdependent, but just each. Yeah, like I think Brianne, you're getting the point of just
Right.
mixers in one group, scientists in another group, whatever.
With specific goals for each group that they would incentivize for each group.
Well,
Yeah.
I also think that, yes, so I think that it needs to, the focus needs to be on smaller groups as a whole, but also, like, didn't we just watch that whole animated video on how money isn't a real motivator, about how, like, people really want recognition and a challenge and non-monetary things in order to get them to do their best work and be more innovative? Like,
And that's my belief. I think they need to pay the employees enough to take the issue of compensation off the table entirely.
exactly.
And
So we
then
should-
maybe offer a performance-based bonus or some other kind of incentive. But they need to they need employees not to worry about, are they going to be able to make their rent for the month.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
what we're saying is we want to increase the base pay to, I don't want to decrease anybody's pay that they're currently getting. That sounds like a terrible
Right.
plan.
Well, that
So-
goes back to the whole punishment thing. I can't remember what it's called. Where the only
Negative
way to get
reinforcement.
Yeah, thank you. The only way that you can get rid of the negativity is to perform well. Otherwise, it's always looming there as this constant punishment that is sitting there until you do your job. And that's
Right.
yeah.
So we want to. So what we're suggesting is not only we're going to break into smaller groups with specific goals. We want to leave the base pay at what they have been getting, but offer like an incentive or a bonus when each team gets those, hits those goals that have been set for each team.
And it doesn't even need to be a monetary bonus that they get. I think that there are many other things that you could do to provide incentive other than monetary. I know that this is about creating a pay plan, but if the whole point of redoing the pay plan is to model it under the philosophy of teamwork, but the team isn't even getting to contribute to what the philosophy is, then that's contradicting. Isn't that contradicting the philosophy in and of itself? Like I just think that that's kind of off.
Well, but then you have this. I don't know who it was. You read him off earlier, where he said, "Come on, guys, we're not really going to take somebody out for a beer." So you have like this, one part of this group who's saying, "I'm not going to do." I, as the team leader, because these are, these seem to be the team leaders, is not going to do these things. So we can say that it's not necessarily a monetary bonus, though I think that a team recognition of some sort goes a long way, because like to motivate them to reach those goals. It doesn't necessarily have to be money, like you said, but the recognition and that we met these goals, and they talk about it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I totally agree.
So, where am I at? So, is there anything else, according to the feedback that they got from the experts that they brought in? Because we know how they pretty much feel, and we kind of know how we'd want to fix it, but what were some of the suggestions that were brought in from the experts?
So there was the guy Tom Nyberg he was the guy from Monsanto.
Okay.
I know one of his statements said that Sam Verde, who I think that was the CEO, right?
Yeah.
He said his action plan lacks clarity.
Yes.
People in the organization will not support a program they don't understand.
Okay.
I also really liked, I think it was Donald that said it, I read it earlier, was talking about how, like, when you have quantifiable data that, like, these goals that you're going for, like, they're talking about quality's up 30%, unit cost to market's 25% or whatever, that you start to focus on you get kind of focused on reaching these these quantifiable goals, but you don't focus on like your methods of getting it. And so in the short run, then that may be good, but eventually the whole team's going to suffer from it because no one's caring about what was his term that he used?
You know, non-financial motivation, compensation formula can only do so much.
Capabilities. He says that that if you focus on results, you may get numbers that are temporarily satisfying. But if you focus on their capabilities, you'll get the results you want that he never even imagined. So instead of just focusing on how do we get these numbers right now, if we just focus on people's capabilities, learning new things, which are not even included in the plan.
So methods of he was saying methods of improvement, that we need to focus on that.
Yeah. So instead of trying to hit like these specific quantifiable goals of just like number crunching, that what's really important is people knowing how to do their jobs and improving and learning new skills and becoming more diverse in their capabilities or whatever. And that's not even included in the plan. Like, that's not even part of the incentives. Like, they don't even mention that. They just have all these things about speed to market and safety and environmental compliance and all this other stuff.
Okay. So I like that too, and it needs to be really, and I like that that it needs to be really clear so that everybody can understand it. So we as a group would suggest, aside from it being very clear, that in order to reach some of those goals that they've talked about, that they need to focus on education and methods of improvement for each team so that they can increase their profitability eventually by investing in their work.
Yeah, like even earlier in the case study, they were talking about how Ruth actually in particular was talking about how it was beneficial for them to be on a team with the scientist because he knows all of the chemical stuff of what his job entails, but he got to learn a lot more about how people mix them and how it's packaged and all the process that goes into that and how it made his job better. And so I think that's Ruth's position, is that she feels like the team dynamic, including different parts of the company that are all included on the same team, will help each other kind of learn those, not necessarily new skill bases, but more informed
about what they're doing.
Yeah, about, I guess that you might have better ideas about what you want to mix and how you want to mix it if you know what the process line is for the assembly. I don't know. I feel like this particular job details a little bit different than what I do, but something along those lines.
Right. Okay. For each brainstorm ideas to. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm being the scribe. I totally and we're brainstorming right now, so whatever. Analysis of ideas. So pros and cons. I guess we kind of need to. So I just want to go over some of the things we decided that we would want to do if we were to fix their pay plan. We wanted to, and tell me if I'm wrong, to make sure I got it. We wanted to keep the base pay so that we don't have negative reinforcement and offer some sort of bonus, whether it be a monetary or team recognition or what have you. We'd break down into smaller groups with specific goals, but in order to reach those goals, it would be like, this is our big goal, but in the meantime, we're going to focus on team building and methods of improvements in order to reach those goals. Is that right?
I think that sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay. If we were to, what are potential problems with this? Because it says to talk about any cons. I can see a lot of positives, but what kind of...
Well, I know the number one problem that I've struggled with in my own experience is finding the right kind of motivation. Because, some guys, I work with a lot of younger single guys, and so money's not a big deal. Money does not motivate them.
Right.
We've tried doing raffles, and I'm kind of against raffles, and raffles don't really motivate. Gift cards don't motivate. We even scheduled. We were like, if you guys hit your numbers, we're all gonna go to a Ducks hockey game, and that didn't work either. So
Right.
it's you've gotta really get to know your team and understand what motivates them. To unite behind something, and sometimes, and I think even sometimes there's not really a reward system that you can use other than just providing an environment that they enjoy being in.
Right, which could be part of that methods of improvement in team building that they clearly need, because each team seems to be very separate and frustrated. So they need some, stuff to bring them together as a group, as a whole, but also, yeah. Anyways, go ahead, Victoria. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying that I think that that's like a really, really good insight, and that's going to be a big factor in getting people to perform the way you want them to. I know that in the reading it talks about how upper management, 60% of their pay is based on performance, but that the people on the floor, like less than 4% of their paycheck is based on performance. And I know that, I mean, to the workers, that's not necessarily common, but I know that the company is frustrated that people don't seem to have the same goals aligned because of that.
Right.
And it still comes down to motivation, but it's another angle of motivation, if that makes sense, because you're paying people to be there, but you're not necessarily succeeding in the performance level that you need to make money or to get things done in this line of business.
Okay. Yeah. I can see how that would cause problems in a workplace. So, one of the things that we've kind of talked about as a group is everybody keeps their base pay. And one of the questions here is, which is better, guaranteed pay that is the same for all employees based on market rates and or seniority, or incentive pay that is linked to performance? And if there was this kind of linked to performance increase in pay, do you think it would increase employee motivation or not? And I personally think it would not make me any more motivated to,
I think that the money just needs to be enough to take money off the table.
Right.
You don't want people going to another place where, like, just starting off, they make more money right off the bat necessarily.
But then again, maybe you need to have a customized compensation plan for each team because, like, take a sales team, for example, they may be used to, working off of commissions. So that they have the mindset and they probably have those soft skills or whatever to be able to really succeed in that. They know that they can go off and sell as much as they want and they can make as much as they want, and that's just their mentality. So they may really succeed in that kind of environment.
Right.
Where the more introverted scientists, they just, they want to be paid for, they know their value.
Right.
Right, and I think, going back to the reading on compensation that earlier in the week, that you're not gonna get creativity if people are focused on getting numbers.
Right.
If you want your scientists to be highly creative, Keith, in your field, you guys thrive on creativity. So if you're just getting people to crunch out numbers and pay them for how many programs they can shove out the door, you're not going to get the best work.
Right.
So yeah, I agree. Definitely dialing it into each group. Line workers could care less about. Well, I take that back. I've worked in trailer manufacturing plants where they actually went through and made all the line workers based on production. So how many trailers they welded is what they got paid for, and they would actually get to weld their initials into the bottom of the trailer to get paid for it.
Well,
And that's how they
talked about that in the animated thing, that when it comes to manual labor, that monetary stuff can sometimes be a good motivator. But with any kind of cognitive problem solving, even the smallest bit, that it kind of leveled out the playing field, and that it was almost a negative thing, the more money you offered. And they tried it all over the world, too, and it still came out with the same results. I think that we're really onto something with smaller groups and customized plans, because it really forces the managers to get to know their staff and what does motivate you. Like, you want the best results, customize it.
Right.
Break it down into smaller groups and make it manageable, and so that it's fair across the board, but give people what they want. Like, you want the best work from people, have the right incentive for each individual or each team, and figure out how small you can do the teams that you can still afford, but that it's manageable, and then track your numbers from there.
Right. So I was looking back at our team leaders that we have. So we have like research and development, the team representative, which she seems to be like manufacturing, kind of. Is that how I'm understanding that? What Ruth did?
Oh, she was managing I think a team of 25 packaging people.
Okay, so she's like a line, in charge of the line workers. Then we have the financial officer, the corporate head of training, and the leader of polymers. And I kind of feel like those would be our main teams or groups. Those are the heads of each of our groups. So if you were head of research and development, you would more want something like your base pay is not based on productivity, because, well, I don't know. Would you want it to be based on productivity and new ideas, or would that...
No.
You'd rather it just be a base pay?
Yeah, if you're in research and development, you've got a very specialized skill. Like in this case, it's the scientists. They've gone to school for years and years, and they are very smart. They want to just be able to come to work, sit down in their lab, and just crank out new things.
Okay.
Yeah, and they will tinker and fail numerous times.
Right. So it's not really a good, mix for them to be based on productivity. So
especially in research and development, you need to foster an environment where they can fail.
Right. Foster creativity. Okay, if you were Ruth, which is the packaging team, and she was really worried about having other teams misrepresent them and cause them to lose their bonuses and so forth, I think. Anyway, that's a more manual labor production kind of a thing. So, like a base pay plus bonus if you hit certain goals and that kind of a thing. We're being very specific, so I'm trying to be pretty specific.
With the manufacturing part or packaging, however they're doing it.
Right.
That one's just touchy, just because of if their job is dependent on what's coming down the line to them. If they can't meet their numbers because somebody farther down, upstream isn't doing their job, that's pretty harsh to pay them for performance if it's out of their hands.
Well, I think everyone would continue with. I think that though we wanted everything to be specific, when we're breaking it down, I think that we're still going to keep everybody at their base pay with the bonuses when things get, accomplished. It needs to, of course, their bonuses and their motivation need to be specific to that team, but as we were going through it just now, I'm like, we're going to keep it the same no matter what team it is. It's just the bonuses or I don't want to say bonuses, but the recognition or whatever that comes from meeting their goals specifically for that team.
Yeah, and I think that maybe a monetary incentive might be beneficial if they were just a line worker. Like, you're going to get paid what you're going to get paid, But when the product is there and you can do more and you do it, then hey, you are going to get that bonus check for
Right.
working it or whatnot. And so monetary might be the right way to go with people that are just
Right.
keeping up the boxes. Mixing
Right.
it up, I don't know.
Okay. What else? I'm sorry.
No, you're perfect.
That's good.
Okay. Now that we have discussed, we've pretty much come up with our solution, as we've talked about. We kind of came up with it as we were going along. Now you can relax out of your top chem roles and return to your own identities. Okay, just want to clear that up for you. Ask each member to explain what they think is the best approach for compensation at Top Chem, which we've kind of already discussed.
I think we got that one.
Yeah. So ask each team what the most important thing they learned from this case was. Teach member. Yeah. Anybody? What did you learn? What was the most important thing?
That compensation at a diverse company is not a one-size-fits-all package. You have to take individuals or individual jobs and figure out compensation for that job and what will motivate them well.
Right.
Yeah, I
Very
think
good.
that is a big one in this. And
Absolutely. I think that another thing is that when you have such diverse teams, that it can be really hard to just say as a lump group, this is how we're doing it. And that might, I mean, I think I find that at like my building, as we are by a big corporation, and so they make all these decisions based on where we are in our hierarchy, and sometimes that works and sometimes it really doesn't work. And so you can't just lump everybody together. It doesn't work that way.
yeah. Well, I just kept thinking about, I'm not sure if you guys had to read the 7 Habits for Highly Effective People for any of your other classes, but I had to read it for my Health Science 378 class, and Stephen Covey talks a lot about like the goose, P and PC. Have you guys read all that? And just like the professor at Harvard Medical School, the Donald Berwick, just really, I guess what he's saying like really hit home for me with that same concept about if all you're shooting is for numbers, you're not really going to focus on how you got those numbers, and like things are going to slack off eventually because all you're looking at is the golden egg and you're not taking care of the goose.
Okay. That's good.
So I think that that's like an important thing to think about when you're trying to decide what your goals are and how you want to motivate people to those goals. Like, is all you care about the results? Because for a little while that's going to be sustainable, but in the long run, if you're not taking care of your people and developing the skills and cultivating a better work environment, it's going to be short term.
Right. Keith, any thoughts?
I share Nick's thoughts that you can't have a one size fits all. It just is not going to work. Everybody's going to be motivated differently, and everyone's going to feel that they deserve something different based off of what they work. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I think we're in agreement on how they are handling their pay incentives. Ask, how was the overall discussion from 0 to 10?
10.
9.75. I'll be the dissenter.
I actually really enjoyed today's discussion, so I thought we all had some really great points, and I feel really good about it. That was good.
Yeah, I think they did a great job.
Is there anything? Is there anything you liked or I could do better next time?
No, I think you rocked.
Thanks.
I will say for whatever reason, your microphone made you sound like Darth Vader a few times.
Fantastic. That's awesome.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Unfortunately.
I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and stop the broadcast.
Okay.